Hello, beloved. It's me, Robin Hallett, intuitive healer and light sparkler at robinhallett.com. And this is Tea with Robin. On today's episode, how do you focus your mind in times like these? How do we intentionally choose where we want to place our focus, even if we have fear and worry at this time? Our inspiration is a ritual and ceremony I sometimes offer friends on the journey, and we have a beautiful letter from a favorite listener, #LovePosse, all this and more. Come grab a cup of yum yum and meet me here. Well, hello, gorgeous friend. It's me, Robin, and hi. Welcome back to the podcast, Tea with Robin. This is episode 110, 110. If it's your first time here, thanks for being here. However you came to be here, may it be a blessing. May you receive something beautiful for yourself, and welcome. Friends returning, how have you been? How's the weather in your heart? Have you been hanging in there with yourself? Have you been riding the ride in a conscious way, staying present with yourself, loving yourself no matter what? That's what I want to talk about today, by the way. Loving yourself no matter what. No matter what you are feeling, or how the day is going, or how you feel your journey is, choosing to have your own back and love yourself no matter what. So yeah, I hope that is the practice. If not, stay tuned. Over here, the weather in my heart is good. It's been a sweet week. I've been really practicing. If you heard last week's episode, I said it's been a little up and down. I've been really practicing with some stories and thoughts I have caught, and making new choices, new decisions around that, and it's been a beautiful thing. So weather in my heart's good. Been getting out a bit more, enjoying nature, as I keep saying, trying to walk every day, walk in a new direction, just leave my house, not complicate it by getting in the car and driving places, though I guess that's just my mode right now. I'm not into that. So I leave the house and walk in a new direction. And it really does, a new vista, a new experience really does add a little something to the day. So it's been good. Been talking to some of you in healing sessions and on Morning Magic. Instagram Live every day, 9 a.m. Chicago time. That's Central Daylight Time. Daylight time until November 1st, I think. My goodness, but it could change any time now, please, because it is dark. It is getting dark at night. I mean, I know when we change our clocks, it'll be like 4 p.m. in Chicago at some point in November. It'll be pitch black out. But even now, it's so dark, so early. And then when you get up, I usually wake up around 5:30 or 6. It's so pitch dark. Anyway, that was a long lot of nothing right there, my friend. Before I get off track, did you bring a cup of yum yum with you? I have this morning's delicious coffee made by number one husband, the amazing and lovely partner of my heartner. Let's cheers to the now. Let's cheers to being here now, in this moment now. Cheers. So, before I dive in, I remind us all again, the house next door called The Mountain is being built. It is ginormous, my friend. That's why, The Mountain. They're doing some kind of coat. I think they're going to either put brick on it or stucco. I'm not sure. But right now they are drywalling the entire outside. It's so fascinating, the process. And now they're in the middle of joining the edges together. So If I'm really quiet, I can hear the sanding. I wonder if you can hear it too. But, like I say, if I wait for them to be done, it's 5 p.m., 6 p.m. It's too late to record. So I'm here super early and so are they. There's just no, sometimes there's just no way around it. So I'm lighting some incense. And I know you can't smell it. This is Palo Santo from ethically sourced wood that's fallen in nature. And it's holy wood, sacred wood, but it smells divine. So just imagine, I'm smudging the microphone actually. I'm just lighting the smoke and waving my hand to you in a blessing and in a clearing. And if you have some at home, light some. Because this time, it feels like we are moving into a new important phase of this journey now. I've been talking to friends this week, lots of different conversations, emails, messages, and, lots of different things moving. I always say to you, if I give examples, I'll be here out the wing with examples, and then I may never hit the one that happened for you. So just really sit with what happened for you this week. And it's really important, no matter what is happening out there, no matter what is happening in the world, if you're losing hope or deeply concerned or you're upset about stuff. Yeah, whatever it is. The thing is, just focusing there is not going to help us. Just staying there and going around and around and around is not going to help us. At some point, we need to pause and relax and come into the now and just be here now. Breathe with the energy that's here now. And give ourselves some space to have contact with ourselves right here, right now. A lot of you tell me you can't stop your mind from racing. You can't stop the problem from probleming. And I get it. And guess what? That's right. Because, your mind, if your mind is completely still, guess what you are? That's right. El Dedo. Our mind is always going to be talking. Our mind is always going to be noticing. Whew, what a relief, Is anybody else out there thinking, hey, I got to work on my spiritual awareness, and that means I have to quiet all the chatter in my mind? Well, we can't. But imagine we were standing in a forest, in a grove of trees, and we were looking at the entire orchard. And one tree, the one we were standing near, we were looking at that tree. We were looking up through the leaves. We were standing under it. It was that tall. We were looking from underneath up into the canopy, and we were able to focus on the individual leaves, the colors, the way the light was capturing and highlighting those colors. Here we have some oranges and yellows and reds going on now. And still the beautiful chartreuse green is here. All the things you would notice right here under this tree with me. And awareness, presence is what I'm talking about. So you're standing inside this whole orchard, of course. But you're here at this one tree. You're not at the entrance with those trees at the entrance of this forest. You're here with me under this one tree. So your life, your experience, your day, your week. We're under this one tree now. If you want to be present, this is where we need to focus. And train our minds to be here now. We can do it. A lot of us have nervous system tics and twitches, let's say, for anxiety and stuff, emotional stuff. We can't handle things. It's intense. Some of us loathe alone time. Other of us can't handle together time. We have preferences. The nervous system does its thing. And if we're always obeying what the nervous system is doing, like the anxiety or the restlessness and we're just constantly moving in avoidance of what the nervous system is putting out, it's at some point maybe you realize I am the entire orchard here. I am the entire orchard here in one body. And there's no way to run away from the entire orchard. But I can possibly learn to isolate the energy, focus on the energy of what's here now, and be a present witness, be a gentle gardener. Isn't that a thing? I haven't really read anything on that, but it's coming to my mind now. Be a gentle gardener. Stay here in the present moment with this one thing I'm focusing on. What lights your fancy in this moment? What are you grateful for right now? What do you love right now? Don't make it hard. Don't make it so big. Play, enjoy, delight. When I'm out walking in nature right now, the leaves are turning. You stand under a tree that is changing colors in these ways that you just, whoa. You're just in the whoa for a minute there. It kind of breaks up the thought process, the stories. It is a pattern interrupt. It changes something. And now, maybe there's a possibility for you to give a pond or two or bring your gaze to the next tree, right next to this one. And just in case I lost anyone with my super awesome analogy, what I'm talking about here is we get upset, we get lost, we get worried. What was that? Oh, my Palo Santo rolled off its little holder. Reminds me of the song On Top of Old Meatball. Was it Old Meatball? I don't think it was old. On top of all. All right, stay on track, girl. Okay, so as I was saying, oh God, you can redirect yourself. You might not be able to stop all the thoughts. You might not be able to stop all the navel-gazing temptations, Where am I going? What's happening? Will I still have a job? What is COVID going to do to the world? What are we, you may not. However, you can choose to be under one tree in the entire orchard and then gently direct your gaze to the next tree you intentionally choose to be with. The next thing, something you choose, you intend, you wish, you want, you're interested in, So I'd like you to encourage yourself to focus on is what's next. Not the big, 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 just what's next today. What would you love to be doing with your time in the next hour, in the next 2 hours, in the next afternoon? So I wonder what in your mind you are focused on, in your heart you're focused on, that's actually exciting, that's actually fun, that's actually things you've been longing to do but never get to. I wonder if those are some things you can pull closer in the orchard of the tree where you're standing now, If you could pull something closer in terms of what you want to be focused on. Because lots of us can fill our time with annoyances and fritterings, and laundry and chores and bills and living vicariously through our children, or just living through our children, or, not just, spending the out from 1 hour to the next, not doing anything we intend with our excited hearts. Does that make sense? Yeah. And you might be like, yeah, Robin, okay. Let me go find my unicorn rainbow. Let me go find my, whatever. I'm not talking about woo-woo stuff. I'm not talking about ridiculous things in the face of, you're in a family of 4 and you have kids and you're trying to figure things out. And so many friends I have right now, like one of my closest friends is on quarantine now because their kiddo came home from school because somebody else was on quarantine. You know how it is. And then everybody's on quarantine and they had these other plans. And, it's like, that's what I'm talking about. How do you stay in a place of aliveness and presence despite what's going on? So I'm not talking about ridiculous expectations in the way our minds can conjure them, but I'm talking about how can I stay focused on the beauty and the goodness that's here now, anyway. And what would I love within these parameters of what I'm doing today? How can I lift my heart? How can I lift my energy into a place where I'm not just focusing on the 2 or 3 trees in the orchard that are browning with the broken limb and, what are we going to do about those things? Let's stay present with all of what's here, not just the 1 or 2 problems. Does that make sense? Sometimes we really let our guilt run the show. We let our guilty feelings run the show. We make decisions to take action just so the guilt we feel will go away. And I hear stories about guilt that there is no remedy that will actually make that guilt go away other than the practice of witnessing it, calling it what it is, guilt from my small self, guilt from my worried self, guilt from my history, my ego mind. Guilt. It's over and done and I can't do anything about it except in this moment now, I release you. In this moment now, we have a choice to make, and it is to free ourselves from ruminating on guilt. I mentioned this a few episodes back, that guilt is usually a sign that you're in territory that's very important to the self, to the higher self, to your journey, and also to the small self. Something here is being triggered for you that needs to be looked at in a new way, with new fresh energy, with a new fresh light. Guilt is such a powerful blanket. It's like a cloak of darkness. And the only thing you want to do is make it go away. Make the feeling stop. But how the feeling will really stop is by acknowledging, hey, this is a nervous system vibe. I am free. I am free. I am free. And if you like that, this comes from the work of Paul Selig and the guides, where they're always talking about elevating your conscious awareness to a higher place within yourself, in your awareness, coming up and out of the story that you feel guilty because you can't do this and you can't do that, or even guilty that you don't want to talk to people today. There's so many things we fall into. Guilty that you didn't make more of your life, guilty people who make us feel guilty. I could go on forever. The thing is, with practice, standing in the big orchard of your life, standing under one tree, making the choice, I am free, I am free, I am free. I'd rather be honest than guilty. I'd rather be honest than guilty. I don't want to be led around by my unconscious, it's not unconscious, it's my unchecked thoughts, which become feelings, which rule my nervous system, and then lead me down certain rabbit holes that just because I didn't practice, I didn't give my focus where I really wanted it to be, Now I'm struggling. Does that make sense? These are things that all of us, I bet, experience from time to time. And as we're in our awakening process, it's important to start to see these patterns and recognize, this is not what I want to be about. One of my own tiniest examples, I'll give a tiny one because, I'm talking about things like everyday things. I call it a tiny one, but maybe you'll see why. I'm out in the driveway tending my plants and a neighbor walks by. I don't particularly want to have a conversation in that moment. I don't particularly want to stop and be friendly and jovial in that moment. And so what do? The guilt is already coming for me before the neighbor even hits the driveway. And in that moment, the practice is, to stay awake, because otherwise you're already feeling guilty. You're already feeling nervous. Sometimes my body is already turning towards the house again. And it's a long driveway, so it's still, there's still a big chance they're going to see me walking away. It's so funny how these things happen sometimes. We could be playful with our energy, could we not? We could giggle about ourselves, couldn't we? So in that moment, sometimes I'm like, hi, this is where we are right now. And the only thing that matters is right now. Here comes the neighbor. Big deal. Say hello. It's another spark of the divine, another opportunity to practice seeing the light in me and you. And nobody said you have to stand for 800 hours talking to her or him or whatever, but make it easy on yourself. At least give a wave. Because the aftermath, am I right? Have you ever done something like that where you're just like, I don't want to talk to them. Then you go away. How's that aftermath working out for you? Sometimes it's like I could feel bad for an hour in my unawakened places, So, in this moment, we're only with this one tree. I hope my orchard analogy is making sense. We're only standing in front of this one tree, witnessing this beauty and this wonderment. And we don't need to be focused on all the other energies, on the entire 40 acres of our life and our world. What's here now? What's fresh now? What's calling you now? How can you help yourself now? And even if this little bit of guilt or this little worry or this angsty angst comes, you're still here under this tree, under this, in this beautiful light. You're still here. alive and beautiful and awake, full of possibilities. And your job, and it is a job, it is a practice, it's a choice, is to not let the one brown leaf falling down as you're looking up take over your entire conscious awareness in this moment. And that is the practice now. Whatever's happening for you, whatever your monkey mind has been, you know that saying, monkey mind, when you can't stay focused and things are threatening to overtake you in your own mind, the guilt, the upset, the worry, the fear, whatever, the disappointment, the anger, I don't know. You know, it's your life, it's your experience, and it changes all the time. But also out in the world, as you're listening to things in the politics arena, as you're watching news, how would it be to have the energy of no big deal? It's just a choice, and everybody has a choice. Everybody gets a choice. If somebody chooses different from me, it doesn't mean I'm bad or wrong. And it doesn't mean they're bad or wrong. It's just we're making choices. I guess I am really talking about non-dual healing here. The idea that we are one, and you never get it wrong. There is no such thing as wrong or a mistake or the wrong side of things. The ego wants to argue for that, I know. But in the spirit realm, you can't get it wrong. Even the choices we make that make things extra difficult for us, and I'm sure you've done things in your life that have made things extra difficult for you, they were not mistakes. They were not bad or wrong things. They weren't. So let's free ourselves up. What is, and I'll give you a moment here, what is your common thing that you struggle with? What is the big thing that has come to your mind right now? What is it for you? Is it hard to prioritize yourself? Is your guilt, is your anger, is your upset? Is it hard for you to not be charged up about politics and the state of the world? Can you bless this thing that you keep coming back to? And I'm raising my hand. I have things I keep coming back to. And if I don't help myself, if I don't do what I'm about to tell you, I'm at the mercy of the upset all day, all night. And sometimes it keeps revisiting me. So the practice is identify that tree in your orchard. The tangible tip here, give it some context and texture and, give your imagination to this issue. Visualize this tree in your orchard. Maybe you'll draw this tree. This is not a tree you burn down and trash. This is a tree you figure out. It's a portal almost. You have to figure out it's what it's here to show you and help you. This is a tree in my mind. I had a dream once about a tree, and it was so magnificent. It was everything. You know that if you've ever seen a drawing of the tree of life, it was that kind of a tree, the way they represent that in a drawing. What if you made it that kind of tree? What if you created an altar? You spread a blanket out underneath it. You gave yourself this visualization, this help of, what if I come to this tree and bow to myself here? Because these repetitive places, I know for me, it is so easy to say, oh my God, just stop. Stop. Why am I always on this topic? Stop. It doesn't do it. It doesn't do it. So, yeah, come under the one tree and give it a visual so that the next time your mind goes there, you can practice. Sometimes I really see how we use things as defenses. A couple episodes ago, I was talking about the way we defend ourselves. Defenses we do: control, overwhelm. That I think it was episode 108. Another defense we do is to be overwhelmed by world events, overwhelmed by the news, the state of things. So consider where you are at. This is not about giving yourself a bad report card. This is about loving yourself fiercely and saying, what's next? What do I really want? So what's next for you? What do you want to be excited about? Some of us who are struggling, tearing ourselves away from the news or our anxiety or the stress of the day-to-day or just the length of this freaking pandemic, our intense fears. Some of us need a new place to give our energy to. We do. So I'm going to encourage you to think about that for this week, okay? And before I finish our essay today, I mentioned Paul Selig and the guides. And one thing that is a very powerful thing, we do it a lot at Morning Magic, is this practice of affirmation to elevate our conscious awareness. And I don't care if it's backed by science or not. You know what I mean? If you're willing to give it a try with me right now. I'll say the statement twice. You can see how it feels for you. I know who I am in truth. I know what I am in truth. And I know how I serve in truth. I am free. I am free. I am free. I want to try it again. I know who I am in truth. I know what I am in truth. And I know how I serve in truth. I am free. I am free. I am free. And so it is. Paul Selig and the guides, his first book is called I Am the Word. They're all on Audible. I think the first 3 you can get on Hoopla too. The free or your free library app for listening. So may that serve you today, beloved. I hope it truly, really, actually does. Cheers. So good. So inspiration today. With everything we're just talking about here, I could really see how a ceremony would support you if you're relating to what I'm saying. A ceremony led by you for you. I'm getting ready to, later today, I'll be doing a healing circle with some friends, and I always love these so much for the ceremony. You identify things that need to be released now. You identify things that are heavy and intense now. You may have listened along to the essay today and realized that, I do have this one real big tendency, the guilt thing. You feel like a bad person, or you notice that you can't stop your mind from revving, constant commentary and revving about what everybody else is doing. And you don't know how to put the focus on yourself, Well, something beautiful is to offer a ceremony for yourself in the name of your healing and your journey. And I'll give an example of what I would do, but I will first say, your way is always the right way, because you know how to do it. You know how to do the thing that works for you. And part of why things don't work for us is that we buy the book or we subscribe to the thing or we attend the thing and we hear somebody else's way. And right away, or not so right away, the ego bristles because it feels it's being told what to do by some external authority. And so if this really is going to work, you have to take the ideas and the recipes and make them your own, make them your own. So for this ritual, I'll gather these things right while we're sitting here. I've got a candle. I've got a little incense burner. It's just a little plate. I'm going to get the Palo Santo sticks. I keep a little box of goodies here. Different things I make my altar with in the different days. I always like to make a fresh altar for friends who come to see me for healings. And now that's virtual, but I have a little altar here where I record, and I make it new all the time. It's important. These rituals, these ceremonies, they matter. Just adding a few more cards to my desk here. A few more. When I was in Assisi, I bought some. We went to so many places, and we bought some beautiful things for back at home again, when we were home again. So that's that. And maybe you want a piece of paper or something, something to journal, something to write on. That's what I think. A candle, something like incense or Palo Santo stick, and maybe something to write and burn. Gather these things around you and offer yourself a ceremony. I'll just do one and you can listen along. Better than explaining it, right? So I'm going to light a candle, light the match. There we go. And then light the stick from the burning candle. These, if you get the Palo Santo, it takes a while to light. It has such a beautiful fragrance. If you like sage, but it smells like wacky tobacco to you in the house, try some Palo Santo, as they called it. Did they call it that in the 50s? Yeah, so now that's burning nicely. And if you want to receive this as a blessing for you right now, I just ask you to center yourself. Take a breath. Close your eyes. Hand on your high heart. In this moment now, I call on the guides and the angels who ride with me. Stand with me. Hold me. Help me to see. I ask you to witness as I affirm that I am ready. I release now any intention I hold, any decision or commitment I have made to keep my life waiting. And I recall and reclaim and reintegrate now the parts of my essence, my life force, my soul that have been waiting in the wings because I've been other focused on other parts of my orchard, so to speak. I've been more worried and consumed by things that I'm ready to let rest now. I welcome you in, beautiful spirit. I welcome you in, parts of my soul. I'm ready to live from a new place, new, right here in my life, even when there's boredom, even when there's worldly freakouts. I'm ready to live with you in an alive, awakened place. Thank you for this ride. Thank you for this journey. And so it is. Amen. And aho. And ahoy. Thank you. Blow out your candle or burn your piece of paper you've written this on and recited it from, whatever that is for you. I said, ooh, because every now and then I get a audible bit of guidance that comes to me, and it was like a beautiful dragonfly that just buzzed my head. I love that. Just clearing. They're messengers of freedom and new and renewal to me. So when I hear that in my ears, I know it's been done. We are so loved and so supported that if we choose to do a ceremony like that, however you want to do it, if you go to the lake or you burn a piece of paper with the writing on it and you say, it is done, it will be done. It will be done. It's so good to decide that you're worthy of supporting yourself, my friend. That's the deal. How are you going to get through this time? Noticing that you matter, recognizing and acknowledging that you come first. That's how. That your soul is here for its own joy and that you're here to live beautifully. So, this is the part in the podcast where I like to ask you to support the podcast. If you've been listening and loving today or liking it, if it was good, or if you feel like some friends should hear it, please share it on. If you see me share it online, it's so easy to hit the share button again on Facebook or Instagram, or share it to your stories. You can always make a post and tell your friends. I think it's so good to help continue to share our beautiful light, to help other people find stuff like this where there is light and love being offered, support, real support, like talking about real issues in a new way. And always welcome a review on the podcast where you listen. I just read the latest one, super sweet, and I thank you so much. They're really beautiful. I love knowing in your own words how it is for you. Thank you. So this week's letter, and friends, I could use some more letters. I am lining up some friends who might want to come on the podcast and talk to me. So far, it seems like everybody wants to do it, but they're waiting to be brave enough. Let me say to you this. I don't think we'll ever be brave enough. I don't even think I feel brave enough today. So maybe we could just decide that it's not about that. It's about us stepping in and remembering that we're all walking together. We're all making our way, and each of us has something to contribute. We're walking together, and there's something in this thing about helping each other as we help ourselves. So I'll just say that, and also I could use some more letters. hello@robinhallett.com. This week's letter, a little check-in in celebration of the milestone of episode 100 and more. And this goes out to you, Vicky, who we featured in episode 31 back in 2019. Episode 31. So here's Vicky's letter. Hey, lovely Robin. I have been catching up over the last week on your last 5 episodes since 100. Wow, what a roller coaster they are, especially as I listened to 104 before 103, so I heard the pushback before the struggle. During every one, I have wanted to message you to send you some love, as I have listened to every single one of your podcasts over the last 2 years. Wow, how is it that long? And I have to thank you because you have supported me through some serious changes in my life although you have not known it. I was working with my husband 2 years ago and feeling stuck and resentful. The business wasn't going well, and he seemed unable to move on and unable to let go of me. Well, that all came to a head in May last year when I finally said, "You can't afford me anymore." It was hard, and there were tears, and he had to let go of his driver and supporter who has worked with him for 18 years, as well as me, and go it alone. And me, I have found a pretty good job with people that I like and have been there over a year now. It has meant that we have survived through COVID, as I wasn't furloughed. And he has managed to get through on his own. It's been a hell of a learning curve, but I have loved feeling relevant again. I have learned to let go a bit of my husband's struggles and not try to fix them so that he can find his own way through. And some of that is down to you, Robin. The podcast can hit just the right button at the right moment and help me to see things differently, to let go of how I thought it was supposed to be, and to embrace what is. Oh, and we are getting a puppy in 2 weeks to add to the excitement. I finally said to the universe that I would really like a dog, and 2 weeks later, some very good friends announced that their dog has had puppies. I saw it as a sign, one that I did not want to say no to at this time, because there'll never be a perfect time for anything. So now is as good a time as any. Please keep going, dear Robin, just as you are. And can you thank Jeff, too, please? I have listened twice to what he said after his Hamlet quote, and it is so relevant. I have spent too many years hung up and angry about how I thought my life should be. But nothing changed until I decided to let go. The universe is amazing, isn't it? Have a gorgeous week. Love, Vicky. Wow. Wow, 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 wow. And what a beautiful letter, Vicky. You sent this in a month ago. I bet you have the dog by now. I wonder what its name is. I so celebrate hearing from you and all the beautiful shifts, all the courage and bravery you didn't think you had, but you had. And look at how many beautiful things have turned out well. You know, it's amazing sometimes how, I was just talking to Jeff about this last night. You can sit down in front of that roadblock. And I said to him, sometimes I'm guilty of just trying to make myself comfortable behind the roadblock instead of deciding I need to go through it or over it, or, you know what I'm saying? I gotta go. And thank you so much for sharing your experience and also witnessing mine. It has been pretty wild that we're on episode 110 now. And I remember that one. Was it 103 where I was crying on the podcast? Good God, y'all. It's amazing how things shift, and I suppose that is our message here, right? Never give up, never surrender, and let's not decide we know what the hell is going on, because we don't. The universe is ginormous. The miracles are always coming, and it helps me to know that what I do here is making a difference. Wow. Thank you so much for that. No matter what, in my heart, I know that I am here to help us. I am here to help us remember what's what, you know, and to show up in our lives as best we can and to be a help for one another, you know, and I can only imagine what a courageous, huge deal that was to tell your husband, hey, you can't afford me anymore and I need to go. And it's like we can keep trying to plug a sinking ship in a way, and we know it's not, and I mean no disrespect. I'm just saying, like, I think we all could raise our hand to knowing what it's like to keep trying to bail something out that really needs to sink. this system as it is needs to be let go of so something new can come forward. And, going back to my orchard analogy, sometimes when a tree comes down, all kinds of new, beautiful life can happen in its place. So we have to have regeneration and renewal. Bless you, Vicky. I hope you're really enjoying your new puppy dog and so proud of yourself. And thank you so much for listening all these last 2 years, and for your kindness and love. And I'm so happy to know that the decision you made carried you through COVID. It's amazing, isn't it? Just wow, wow, wow. Thank you, thank you, thank you, and bless you. So friends, like I say, always happy to read a letter. Doesn't have to be a problem. You could just share your good news with the rest of us. I think we all love to hear stuff like this. Yes. Well, I suppose that wraps another beautiful episode. It is Sunday afternoon over here, and number one and I are going to cook a yummy, warm meal together. I am thinking about spare ribs and mashed sweet potatoes. And if you don't eat meat, sometimes I just love fava beans with sweet potatoes, or garbanzo beans and sweet potatoes. It's equally lovely to me. So it's a beautiful fall day here, looking out the window. I'm definitely going to take a walk in a bit, and when I'm done editing too, and see all the beautiful colors changing. Thanks as always for being here. Thanks for your light, for your love, and for listening. And even if you never write in or we never have contact, and I just want to say, I know you're there, and it makes all the difference in the world to know we're both making our way. Makes this world seem a little less scary in times like these. So thank you again. This has been me, Robin. I'll see you here next time, next week, or in a few minutes. Bye-bye. Life is very short, let's make the very most of it. You are a precious gem and I love you. Do, 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 do. We are here to shine and shine bright. You are a gem and I love you. Do, 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 do. Life is precious and you are a spark of the divine. So shine like you know it, rock it like you mean it, 'cause you really, really mean it, and mean it, and mean it, and mean it, and mean it. Don't let crispy people tell you that you aren't sparkly, 'cause you are, 'cause you are, 'cause you are. Thank you. I like that. I love it, honey. Thank you. Give me a kiss.